Hello, fellow creator. Welcome to Candlelight Musings for the week. Here's my candle. I try to keep it out of the frame so it's not so distracting this time with the flicker. So, I want to talk to you this week about wildness, about our wild hearts. I've been thinking a lot about this lately. It took me a lot of years to try to figure out how to live with my wildness. For a long time, it just seemed like a challenge, like something that made it hard for me to really fit anywhere into any of the prescribed boxes that society seems to lay out for us. Our wildness is something that's really kind of beaten out of us in traditional education. You know, go here, do this, don't do this. You're doing this too much. You're doing this not enough. Just so much direction, so many rules. And then when we grow up and, we're suddenly trying to figure out how to really make a living in the world, the options that are laid out for us are sometimes really stifling to a wild spirit. And things improved for me a lot when I discovered some other wild spirits, mostly in books initially. People like Walt Whitman and Mary Oliver, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Emerson wrote an essay about the state of the Protestant church. He was writing a long time ago, I think the late 1800s, if I remember right. But he was writing about how there was so little life left in the church. And he wrote about going to hear a sermon and was saying that what the pastor was saying in the sermon was so much less interesting than the rainstorm, which he could hear outside. And he felt this yearning to go out into the rainstorm and said, what a statement it is on the state of religious life when a rainstorm is more interesting than a sermon. I always really related to that from my experience being in school, being in college, even grad school, and just it can be really interesting to sit and talk and listen to ideas, but that call of the sensual world is always so strong for a wild soul. So learning about those people definitely really helped a lot. But I've been, thinking a lot about what wildness is and what it is not. Another author that I really like a lot, Gary Snyder, wrote about this. He wrote about how we tend to define wildness in terms of what it's not in this culture. We tend to think it's not ruly, it's not tamed, it's something that can't fit in. But if you look at a natural system like an ecosystem and what wildness is there, a wild system is a system that is whole. It's a system where every individual thing in that system is playing its special role so that the whole is more than the sum of its parts, and it's this beautifully functioning ecosystem. And you find that in a wild system. So I've been thinking about that lately, about the idea of wildness being whole, of our wild wholeness, and how maybe the reason that it's so hard sometimes for a wild-souled person to fit into the boxes that are laid out for us is just that we are just too whole, and we're too devoted to our wholeness, and we want to feel and find and experience our wholeness as deeply and as richly and as sensually as we possibly can. And that can mean a lot of different things for us. Maybe it means spending a lot of time in nature. That's always been really important to me. Always trying to find every possible way to do the things that I love outside. And I've gotten pretty creative doing that. Recently, I bought a generator so that I actually could play amplified concerts outside in natural spaces. But I haven't quite got that going yet, but that's something that I'd really love to do. So spending time in nature can be a piece of it. I don't know, for me, I think my wild wholeness is also has to do with why I really cherish profound connection with people and why I seek deep experiences in life, why I want to live in a way that allows me to feel intensely and to experience life intensely in the way I'm always seeking. We are always seeking more understanding, more connection, more life in our life, to live in a way where we really feel alive, where we really are conscious creators in our lives. I think that all of that comes from our wild wholeness, if we are in touch with that. So I would love to hear from you. What are you doing right now that's nurturing your own wildness? Where is your wildness alive? And are there places that stifle your wildness? And what are those places? I love hearing from other people who are also thinking about these things. And I'll tell you what I am doing with mine. So I recently got a delay pedal, and I'm having so much fun with it. I am putting my voice through the delay pedal so that I can play the harp and I can sing and I can layer my voice. And the kinds of soundscapes that you can create while doing this are just so fun. I feel like it's the closest thing I've ever experienced to flying in musical form, what it feels like to be in the middle of all of that going on and to be singing. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, but the technical pieces of it have been really challenging to learn because those pedals, oh my God, I don't know who makes them, what kind of mind they work for, but for me, they are very unintuitive, but I've finally begun to crack it. And I look forward to sharing it with you here. And I would share it now, except that my children are asleep, and so are the neighbors, and even the homeless man outside is asleep. Everyone's asleep, and I don't want to wake them up with my cacophony, so so I'll have to wait. But thank you for watching, and have a beautiful week. I wish you a week of feeling and loving your own wildness and letting it thrive.